Ours is a country of where things happening. It's like they will say in local parlance, it is happening. It's a country that, so many different things happen that really baffles the mind. Recently, there was a discovery of a total of almost $50 million that was found in an apartment in Ikoyi in Lagos. That's a whole load of money in dollars and British pounds and, of course, the naira. There's also this baffling situation that happened in Port Harcourt, where the commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps in Rivers State publicly humiliated some of his female officers by cutting their hair because he says it was too long and it was against the dress code. But there was something beautiful that happened also in that same country, Nigeria, where the Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido II, gave an eloquent speech about his northern states, where he comes from. He spoke his mind about where we need to be, where the northern states need to be. These are the things I'm going to talk about this week. So welcome to Point Blank. My name is Patrick Omosagi. I'm going to take a very quick break. When I come back, I will start with that eloquent speech by the Emir of Kano and the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. So stay tuned and I'll be right back. Welcome back. Remember, you can reach me on my Twitter handle, which is PJ Osagi, or you can watch this program anytime, anywhere, 24 hours a day by going to our website, which is www.mbclivetv.com. So let me start with what I consider one of the best, fearless, bold speech made by a Nigerian, and in northern Nigeria for that matter. The Emir of Kano, the former governor of the Central Bank, made a speech recently at the Investment Summit of Kaduna State. This is a man I have always said could make a very good leader in Nigeria. Even though he has taken to go the traditional way, he's now a traditional leader. But when he talks, he makes a load of sense. He blasted the northern leaders for their backwardness in running their states. He said publicly that if some northern states in Nigeria were countries on their own, they would be among the poorest countries in the world. This is something that no Nigerian normally says, whether he's southerner or northerner. We run away from things like this. He talked about a northern governor burning books, academic materials. He talks about a recent governor whose state is being ravished by the outbreak of meningitis, who is blaming immoral or social behavior and saying that God is punishing the people and that is why this is happening. This kind of thing is what a good leader can face his people and say to them. Emir Sanusi II has always been known to be a bold man. He's the same man that told us a few years back that there was $20 billion missing from the Federation account. He was in charge of that account, but he said it was missing. He got fired, relieved of his duties or whatever at that time for coming out so openly to do that. This is the kind of leader we want. Those that know me personally have always said that he was my man, if possible, to be president of Nigeria 2 years ago. I also had another candidate, and that was the former governor of Lagos State, who is now a minister under this government. But we need people that can look us in the face and tell us the real truth. Because for the first time in a very long time, the people of the north of Nigeria, headed from one of their own, an Islamic scholar, a head of a very powerful northern emirate, the Emir of Kano, comes out to tell his people, that for them as a northern people to get on, to make it in the new world, they must start to look at the way religion is affecting them. He talked about the life of the female northerner. He talked about early marriages. He talked about people, young men, not getting married to too many women that they cannot afford to take care of. I want you all, if you have the time and chance, go back and listen to that speech. It's just not something we do very regularly in Nigeria, which is tell people the truth. Sanusi, I doff my hat for you, because this was something that needed to be said. The conservative nature of northern Nigeria is pulling them back. He didn't mention this, but you go and look at the recent release of the cutoff marks into federal secondary schools, what they call the unity schools. And you look at some of the cutoff marks for some of the states. Some of the eastern states are at about 130. And believe me when I say this, some of the northern states is as low as 12 marks. If one state in Nigeria is at 130 and another one is in the 20s, then you know we have a problem. But take your time, go look at what he said, listen to him. And I want us to really discuss this. So please reach me. I want your comments about him, not about me. This is not about what I think. This is about what he has said about his own people, his own religion. And we must cover this fully and fairly. I think he said the right thing. So you go, listen to him, and make up your mind. But the Emir of Kano did something right for his people. I'm going to take a quick break again. When I come back, I'm going to delve into those issues that are of, one of those things I think I have done over many times on this program. And that is really how we behave, how we treat ourselves, and how we do things. So let me take that quick break, and I'll be right back.
We are in denial. The Northwest and the Northeast, demographically, constitute the bulk of Nigeria's population. But look at human development indices. Look at the number of children out of school. Look at adult literacy. Look at maternal morbidity. Look at infant mortality. Look at girl-child completion rates. Look at per capita income. The Northeast and the Northwest of Nigeria are among the poorest parts of the world. What is our attitude towards educating our girls? What is our attitude towards child spacing so that we can financially maintain and educate and bring up children? What is the purpose of a large population that is not educated, that is jobless, that is unemployed? Of what benefit is it to the North to have 3 million children out of school, roaming the streets begging? I can't conceivably think of any benefit to us as human beings, or as Nigerians, or as Northerners, or as Muslims, of having this army of unemployed beggars. We have to reclaim our religion. We have to look at what our religion actually says as opposed to what culture says. I'm sorry, but a current issue yesterday, if it is true, what I read, 200 people die of meningitis in the state. The governor was asked and he said it is God's curse on us for the sins. For the sin of fornication, which apparently does not happen in America, which is why they don't have meningitis. That we have placed ourselves in this situation where simple things, it's a medical issue. You don't have vaccines, go and find vaccines. Treat those who have caught it. Don't give these kinds of explanations. But this is the mindset. And I have a degree in Islamic law, and I can tell you that that is not an Islamically correct statement to make.
Welcome back. This is Pointblank and I'm Patrick Omosagi. Before I leave the Sanusi issue, let me also say that he's, like I've said, he's bold and fearless. Apart from just the northern leaders, he also took on the Buhari government and its economic principles. He talked about massive borrowing. We're using 66% of our revenues today to pay down interest on the debt. And he says we keep borrowing. He says that is not going to work. I agree with him. You can't keep borrowing to do what? To consume. He uses a very fine analogy as to how things work in Nigeria. He says that, look, this is the only country that he knows of using these economic principles. He says that governors or people in government will travel to China, spend a few weeks in China, and come back with a $1.8 billion loan. To do what? To build a train, a rail line in the north. Forgetting that China would supply the iron and steel, the train coaches, the engineers, even the train driver. And what will this train do when it is completed? It is going to carry people not to an industrial estate, not to their farms, but out to socialize. We've borrowed money from a people who have used really the money in them for themselves, and we still have to pay back that money. When I say that there's some things we do in that country, people would call me or text me or get me messages somehow and say, look, why are you saying that? I have said, look, why do we have an airport? Or why would, what state is building, why would Oshogbo need an airport? For what? How many people in Oshogbo fly in and out there? The airport in Akure is not functional. The one in Ibadan is not functional. And state governments continue to want to build airports. And you know what? They have to borrow the money. These are things that, according to Lamido Sanusi, it's unsustainable. You don't continue to borrow money to feed yourself. You borrow money to do things, to invest in your own future. And that is what I think should happen. So, again, try to listen to the former governor of the central bank and you'll see what I am saying. So let me quickly jump to a really interesting story. The EFCC is finding money all over town. They just found a huge stack in Ikoyi in an apartment. Nobody knows who rented the apartment but we know who owns the building. Like I say all the time on this program, we are yet to crack corruption in Nigeria. Now we know who owns the building, we should easily know who rented the apartment or who leased that apartment. Remember, there's still monies that we have found in this country that we still don't know how it happened. Remember, a few months ago, there was a whole load of, there was a serious find of money, I can't remember how much, that was found at an airport. Nobody knows who put the money in a plane, but it did arrive at an airport and it was seized. Till tomorrow, we've heard nothing about it. I'm not saying that the EFCC is doing the wrong thing, but what bothers me and continues to bother me is that nobody ever really seems to get in trouble. I'm waiting to, look, I honestly wait to see the day that someone of substance will get into trouble in Nigeria. I have lived in North America now well over 20 years, and I have seen powerful people crumble. I have seen powerful people being put in handcuffs. They call it the pep walk in America. They come to you and arrest you and put you in handcuffs and walk you to a waiting police car, bend your head down and put you in there. When will Nigeria be able to pep work some of these guys? Someone owns that money, or someone should claim ownership of that money. That flat was rented or leased by someone. We know that the overall complex or big house belongs to a former chairman of the PDP. That's what they say. But who owns it? Who's been going in and out of that house? Now we have the money. Now we need to know who owns it. If we can't, like I just said, we're not fighting corruption the right way. People have to be punished for what we see as crimes to the country. If you steal our money, I don't care that you're returning it. I want people to be punished because the money doesn't belong to the EFCC, neither does it belong to the federal government. It is our money. You steal it, we find it on you, we have to punish you. I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, I'm going to delve on a story that bothers me as a person and as a man, as a father and as a husband. So let's take that break and I'll be right back. Welcome back. This is one story that bothers me like no other. The FRCN, Federal Road Safety Corps commander in Rivers State, took a pair of scissors and right on the parade ground cut off the hair, the long hair of some female officers because he says they were violating the dress code. I understand there are rules that have to be followed, but I also believe that these women, mothers, wives, sisters, also should be protected from this kind of a callous behavior. He had no right to take a pair of scissors in public to cut their hair. What gives him that? Who told him that that was the way to punish people under you? I maintain this. You cannot cut the hair of my wife or any of my daughters and get away with it. I don't care if they've broken a law or a rule about dressing. All you have to do is you suspend them without pay and don't come back until your hair is as low as we want it by our laws or our rules here. You don't humiliate grown-ups. You don't humiliate other people's wives or sisters or mothers. There's only one really green light here. His bosses in Abuja have recalled him, and I hope he's disciplined. I doubt that, but I hope he is, because Nigeria has become a country that nobody, and I repeat, nobody ever gets punished. It is starting to really bother me. Because I'll say this, if at all I was on the side of supporting General Buhari when he was trying to come into power, it was I felt that people would start to get the punishment they deserve for the crimes they commit on the people of Nigeria. So I would not be surprised if this man is just moved to another state. But that would be a shame, because I can tell him if this was here in Houston where we all live, I'm not propagating violence, but some husband would have shot him. You can't do that to people's wives in public. They're not your slaves. They work with you, and you should respect that. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll come back and we'll talk just a little bit about the international scene, because things have been going on in the United Nations that makes the United Nations the toothless bulldog, which I learned about in the 80s when I studied political science. So quick break, and I'll be right back. Welcome back. I did say that I was going to get into a little bit of the international scene, and this should concern everybody. Something happened in the last 1 week that was really disheartening. I thought we had gotten over this kind of callous, wicked behavior in the world. I really don't care if you're a dictator, because I have friends that actually say that the country Nigeria needs a benevolent dictator. I don't agree, but they do say that. Many of them think that we need someone that doesn't need to have a lot of rules surrounding how he governs the country. But I still think that we are on the right path. We just have to clean up things and we'll be fine. But something happened in Syria. In their civil war, I guess it's a civil war, and the people were gassed. The pictures were really frightening and really sickening, to see young children gasping for breath just to stay alive. My concern is not what the American president did. My concern is with the United Nations, a body that was set up to take control of world issues, but has really, for the most part of its existence, been a body that really is troubled and really has absolutely no power. With some countries having veto powers, really has never made a lot of sense to me. When I did international politics at the University of Ife many years ago, we were made to write a paper about the United Nations, and it was titled, "The United Nations, a Toothless Bulldog." A bulldog is supposed to be frightening, just its mere face. And then the teeth really showing. Remember, the bulldog is about its head. And what is prominent in the head of a bulldog is the teeth. Can you imagine a big head bulldog with that barrel chest coming at you, but without any teeth? That's what the United Nations is. It's a body that comprises of all the countries in the world. It's supposed to be able to make decisions that would affect one or the other. But it makes decisions that go nowhere. It makes decisions that are not binding. So recently, the United Nations came out to try to condemn Syria as a country for using chemical weapons that are banned in this world today. And you know what? One country holds it up. They oppose it, Russia. Another country sits out, China. I know those that are into international politics say that's a good thing. Doesn't China think it was wrong that Syria used banned chemical weapons on kids and women and civilians? Doesn't Russia see that it violates it violates everything human about people? Why kill people in such a terrible way? I know it's war, but funny enough, war also has rules. I'm very disappointed that after all these years, the existence of the United Nations, it still remains a toothless bulldog. That's all I have this week. But we go into the Easter weekend. For those of you that celebrate Easter, have a great and pleasant Easter weekend. For those of you that's just going to have a long, joyful weekend, same thing. Have a great one. And I'll see you all back here next week. Again, my name is Patrick Omosage, and I can be reached on my Twitter handle at PJ Osage. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you about the speech by the Emir of Kano. I want to hear what you think that those that broke a workplace rule could be humiliated in public. I want to hear about those things. So try to reach me. See you all here. See you all back here next week. Bye for now.